Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. You have landed on the Fresh Approach Wellness podcast. Um, and I say landed, it's because you never know how you're going to get here. And if you're real like I am, like our guests are, you admit that you fall down a rabbit hole. You admit that life is full of distractions. You admit that you're human, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So here's the thing before we jump too far into today's show, the quickest tidbit I have for you right now as we are entering to today. When you own your darkness, nobody can take it away from you. And I've said that in a couple of different ways. When you own your shadow, which is your darkness, nobody can take it away from you, which is just owning who you are. So on today's episode, this is another heart to heart. And again, just to clarify for any of our new listeners, a heart to heart means you can see the show notes on YouTube. You can see everything on YouTube, including the beautiful guests that we bring on site that are heart to heart. So you can feel the interaction and not just listen to it as you're cleaning the house or going for a walk or doing all the things that you on your checklist. So on today's Heart to Heart, this is episode 179. I'm stoked. Thank you. I can't believe still that this all happened. I mean, we were talking behind the show, behind the camera, before the recording, whatever you want to say. And life sometimes hits us hard. And my episode started throughout COVID. And it's the one thing that I perpetuated with, no, it's not the one thing. There's a lot that happened during that period, but we have hard moments, and life isn't as easy and as fluid as we've expected it to be. And on today's heart to heart, Tanya is going to be sharing with us. We're going to go back and forth on this, but it's all about rediscovering who you are. So rediscovering yourself. And that's going to be the title of today's episode. And I don't know if you guys have realized this or not, or for anybody that is not behind the scenes, I don't even have the show title prepared until I meet the guest. And sometimes it's not even until we start talking where I'm like, okay, there's the title of the episode. So that's how real we keep things. So with no further ado, Tanya, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with Sonia, who is my sound namesake because
Yes.
whenever people call me Tanya, and I appreciate and I love all the Tanyas out there. But if for me, knowing how I pronounce my name, it's always one of those sort of nails on the chalkboard. So Sonia and Tanya, I love that.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm here in the States. I am a health and wellness coach, and I have been a health and wellness coach, I think, since I didn't know there was a name for it. But I started out actually in engineering. So I came from Stanford University, engineering trained, went into IT consulting, was doing that whole thing. I'll call it.
Thing. Corporate 9 to 5. Is that what you're saying by
Exactly.
thing?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And again, you choose choose your adventure. And for me, that just wasn't the adventure. And my health and wellness was suffering. And it's part of the reason that I started exploring on my own, options for health and wellness. And then I decided I'm going to quit this adventure and start my new adventure. And I went down the path of holistic health and wellness. And it has made a wealth of difference. Even my mother, says that I look happier. So it has made a difference even in people who, and my mother, of course, is like, "You left corporate. What are you doing?"
Oh my gosh.
Ah.
That's yeah, like we're gonna have to tap into that because yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that. Yes.
So I my business is called Embody Well, and as you spoke about rediscovering, that is one of my focus area is really supporting clients in rediscovering their best selves. And what is that best self? I mean, you as a coach know it's whatever that person feels is best for them, because they're the experts at themselves. And so I have a couple of tools in my toolkit that include an embody love, which is I call it my deep self love. It's for women, women's retreat, maybe one for men coming, later, but I believe that women can save the world if they are at peace with themselves. So that's kind of my world peace comes from women's peace. And then I have within that there's the mirror board, which is a collaboration I have with another coach, which is all about the reflections of you and how there are all these wonderful aspects of you and really coming to not only be aware of them but also appreciate them. And then the last thing is I am a certified nutrition specialist. So, and cooking is near and dear to my personal passion.
Ooh,
Yes. So I actually have a little cooking show on YouTube. I am a self-proclaimed vegetarian.
okay.
That's my term for how I eat. And that came from some nutrition education I was doing with the California State Public Health Department. And people would always ask me, am I vegetarian? And I was like, no, I do eat meat, but if you look at my plate, you think she's a vegetarian. She doesn't eat meat because most of the time it's just filled with vegetables.
Mm,
And so I realized that, especially in doing nutrition education and trying to encourage people to eat more vegetables, when you say vegetarian, okay, don't eat meat. But then what do you eat? I mean, you could
right.
eat, rice and sugar all day and be vegetarian, and that's not healthy.
True
So
story. Yeah.
yes, those are not, they don't go together necessarily. So that's where vegetarian came from. And so I'm working on a book called Vegetarian, a Mouthful, because some people can't say it because it is a lot.
Say
So
okay, so say it again.
vegetarian.
Vegetabiliarian. Got it.
Yes, yes, yes,
But you
yes.
know what? I'm gonna tell you my trick. I've been in sales my whole life, so I phonetically write down people's names. So I phonetically break things down. So that's my trick. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Okay. I
Sometimes in my database when I was like in corporate, well, I mean, I'm still in corporate now, but that's just because life throws us roller coasters. And yes, I can appreciate everything that you've said. But um sometimes I would have the name there and I'd get a message from my manager saying, okay, you can't spell it like that. I'm like, well, that's how you say it. So I kind of moved my phonetic spelling out of the contact field into the notes section. So I have a reference point. Yeah.
Okay, I love it. Okay, well, however you want
Yeah.
to spell it, vegetarian. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
that's kind of my passion project on the side. Yeah.
Amazing. And there's so many levels that you just shared with us that are amazing. And we talked about choosing your own adventure, which is corporate or not being corporate and
Or both.
or both. And the reason, and I was gonna say there's no I've been speaking with a lot of coaches lately, and it is a leap of faith to leave corporate. It is a leap of faith to do what you're passionate about. And sometimes an opportunity presents itself, but it might not be the right opportunity,
Hmm.
right? So what I'm saying is like I was laid off. I was involved with 2 group layoffs. And I'm like, that's fine. I'll just work on my business.
Hmm.
But was it truly the right time?
Right.
Hard to say. Um, and I've been back in corporate and I've been working from home and still working on my business. And now I'm actually working out and about and working on my business. And it does change the dynamics. But here's the one thing, and there is no right, wrong. And this is why I want to bring this up because once you reach a certain point, you are now modeling to a different audience.
Yeah.
I am now modeling to, like, I was realizing in my business, my days were empty. Well, as a mom with 5 kids, yeah, there's lots of things I could do, but it's not like I was serving a lot of clients during the daytime
Right.
because they were working. So now they're realizing that it's just like a lot of fitness professionals are a certain size. Not all of them, but a lot of them are a certain shape and size. But they're not exclusively a shape and size to be qualified a fitness professional or to be an athlete. So when you're seeing all of these different influencers or coaches and their different shapes and sizes or in their different stages of their business, that's for a purpose and for a reason because you can connect a little bit better with that.
Hmm.
They're mimicking the journey that you want to be on. If they can balance the 9 to 5 and their business and their health and their mindset and their family, that's something that you want to do too. That's a perfect person for you to emulate. If you've got the opportunity to not do that because your life looks different, I mean, I'm sure my story would be completely different if COVID didn't hit and my fitness studio wasn't closed down, right? Like but I had to reinvent myself and take everything online, and I was shocked. And this is what I mean by the roller coaster ride and the choose your own adventure and just picking up where you left off. It's different for everybody, and the best thing that you can do is to eliminate that personal judgment.
Yeah.
Because if you're an entrepreneur hearing this, and we didn't talk about this before camera, but I want to ask you, Tanya, do you find that you listen to other entrepreneurs in the space?
Oh, yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
almost more than anything else, right? Like there are other people kind of like you, different level, different experience. So I'm the exact same. So I am confident there's going to be other people that are like us that are listening to our information that are in that crossroads. But do yourself a solid, release it. Just accept it for what it is. Because when you have the money coming in, not only is your mindset different, your attraction is different, your worries are gone. And for some people, it just might make sense right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that's the biggest thing is we put so much pressure on ourselves in this industry. And because a lot of our external world hasn't done what we've done. And you tapped into this about, your mom was quite scared that you left corporate to choose your own adventure. So tell me about that experience just to help share with the audience. How has that evolved over the years?
So when I left, there were some frustrations. I was up for partner at my consulting firm, and um, as you know, as JB would say, things fell apart, and I took it with, I think, grace, and I said, okay, well, I'm looking for, give me some feedback, give me some counsel, and it was a mess. It was
Mm,
a mess. The feedback I got was not actionable. It was very subjective. So, I mean, again, from a woman's perspective, from a Black woman's perspective,
yeah.
there's lots of places I could have gone,
Yep.
but I was okay. So the next round, which was the next year, um, it didn't happen again, and it was slightly worse. And I got so disenchanted. So I actually did. I continued working, right? And I was like, and I did a leave of absence after the first one, and that's when I really discovered my passion. I actually did the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Okay.
It's a book that I recommend to anybody that
I think I don't have it, but I've heard of it. So we will link we will add this link to the show notes, just so you know, the artist way.
now it is, and I took that leave of absence. It is an investment of time because it's a 12-week kind of guided program. You have to take yourself on dates with yourself, which is wonderful, and she kind of gives you some structure around them. But that was really so, and you do a lot of journaling as a part of it. So that was really where my business came from. And my business was originally called the Sensual Movement. That's what came out of my notes. And the Sensual Movement was about experiencing life as fully as possible through all of your senses.
I love that.
However, I did some work with some faith-based organizations. And they were like, "Can you put can you put something else on the invoice besides the Sensual Movement?" So when you talk about faith-based organizations, churches and other, the Sensual Movement was too much. It was too much. It was too close to, sex, which, again, I wanted to kind of transform that perspective. But so that's where I transitioned to Embody Well. And sometimes I use the Sensual Movement in some things, but yeah. So anyway, so go
No, the
from there.
evolution,
So
the evolution is cool,
yes,
and this is why
evolution.
we're talking about it. And people don't understand the backstory. It's like the iceberg. They
Yeah.
really don't understand the backstory, and sometimes I never know where I'm going to start after the introduction, but I wanted to start with this. I just felt connected to start with this. So yes, continue because I'm curious.
So the Sensual Movement turned into Embody Well. Well, that was later, but the Sensual Movement, I left. I wound up after that second round just being so frustrated, and even though I continued working, I felt like I felt like a zombie going into work. It was just like, what am I doing? I feel like I'm hitting my head against the wall. I actually switched groups within the sort of corporate arena I was in, and it just didn't feel good at all. And so, I have had people who've said to me, "Oh, you're brave for leaving corporate," and my mother. um, but it just felt I was miserable. I was plainly miserable. So it was kind of, choose misery or choose another adventure. And that's where I started making plans now. So let's keep in mind, I started socking away money. I'm single. So that was, let's have a nice little cushion.
Yes, yes,
And so that's when I kind of made my plan to exit. I made an exit strategy, and started my business. I was in California at the time, and that's when I was working with the health department and all this other stuff, and that's when the whole sensual movement in Body Well came up, and that's also where Vegetabiliarian was
okay,
born.
okay.
Um,
Vegetabiliarian, yes.
Yes, and I actually I worked with the I told you the state of California Public Health Department, and I worked with this initiative called the Network for a Healthy California, um, and it was I was the lead for the African American campaign, and the target was low income families that were on the SNAP-Ed program. So what I learned there was a tremendous appreciation for diversity and for my privilege, right? I had never been hungry. I had never not been able to get fruits and vegetables. I had never not been able to walk outside on my street. So it really, really opened my eyes as it relates to everyone's different situation, and this whole concept of rediscovering your best self is going to look very different. So it was really important to me to acknowledge that, and that's why I say I was a coach before I figured out, oh, this is what coaching is, because I was really, it was really important to me to understand where the person was. So right, meet the clients where they are,
Yep.
in order to figure out what's the best path forward. So so I think that's it. And so now, fast forward, I moved from California to Atlanta, Georgia, and I actually did my first online nutrition course with Alive out of Canada. So because I
Nice.
appreciate the fact that the countries outside of the U.S., particularly Canada, are much more embracing of the holistic health and wellness lifestyle. So
Yeah, and it's not even, and it's interesting because I have American clients too. So I want to say it's not even because of any one reason, from what I know of as a Canadian. I think it's just like you said, meeting people where they're at. And if where they're at is how we're finding them, then yes. Um, that's exactly it. Oh, it looks like we froze for just a second. Hopefully we'll be right back on. I'll just continue to chat for a second. I loved hearing about Tanya's Choose Your Own Adventure. You can hear how she evolved from her personal journey in the corporate place to understanding that her health and wellness. Hey, I lost you, but I don't know how to connect the two now afterwards. Do you?
so I don't know. Typically, if the network does a little out and in, it can
Hmm.
it will reconnect.
To my other Zoom? Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out somehow. I don't know yet how, but there's a lady that helped me with one of ours, so I might reach out to her to see if she can do the same thing for this one. All right, I'm gonna pause.